You look at the manger and see the beginning of a life, but that is the greatest illusion of our perception. That crying baby in Bethlehem was not being born at that moment. He was merely disembarking. Human chronology deceives your eyes and hides the terrifying truth about the real antiquity of the one who slept among the animals. What most people ignore is that his biography does not begin in the Gospel of Matthew. There is an earlier dossier, often forgotten, that details an active existence long before the foundation of the world. Before he had a body, he had a throne. Before being called Jesus, he already possessed an identity that ruled the cosmos. Imagine absolute vacuum, a dense and cold darkness where physics does not yet exist, no time, no matter, no sound. Suddenly, a vibration breaks through the nothingness, a voice detonates the silence, and entire galaxies explode in nuclear fusion. At the center of this power, someone stands observing everything. He is not a fragile child, he is the architect. In the beginning was the Word, and the mystery we need to unravel now is, who was he before putting on human skin? Try to erase everything from your mind now. Forget the blue sky. Forget the ground beneath your feet. Forget the sound of the wind and even light itself. We are rewinding the tape of history to a moment when the universe's clock had not yet begun to tick. We are going to the before. It is a place where the human mind fails, where logic bends, and where the silence is so heavy it could crush a soul. In this absolute vacuum, there is no yesterday, there is no today, and the concept of tomorrow is impossible. There are no stars to dot the darkness, no galaxies spinning in a gravitational dance, no atoms colliding. The only thing that fills this space, which is not space, is a presence, a living, pulsing, absolute, and terrifying consciousness in its power. Imagine standing before this entity, before the first particle of cosmic dust was formed. There, in the vastness of eternity past, someone already existed, and he was not sleeping, he was not waiting to be born, he was fully active in perfect communion, sketching on the drafting table of omniscience every detail of what would become reality. Suddenly, the stillness is broken, not by a chaotic crash, but by a verbal command. A voice carrying within it the power of trillions of atomic bombs echoes through the void. Act! And in the next instant, the darkness is torn apart by a light traveling at 300,000 kilometers per second. Matter clumps together, chaos organizes itself, and the stage of the universe is inaugurated. Now, make a sharp and brutal cut in the scene. We leave the majesty of the expanding cosmos and land in a dirty stable, smelling of hay and animals in a small Judean village called Bethlehem. The contrast is violent. That same power that ignited the stars is now compressed within a fragile, damp, and dependent body. We see a crying baby, needing warmth, needing milk, needing protection. We look at him and say, "This is Jesus," and we are right. But at the same time, we make a grave error of perception that limits our understanding of who he truly is. His story did not begin there. That cry was not his first sound. Popular theology, the kind we learn in children's plays, taught us to see Christmas as the starting point. But investigative truth forces us to face Christmas not as a beginning, but as a metamorphosis. The being lying in the manger is a traveler who crossed the boundary between the uncreated and the created. This leads us to a disturbing question that few dare to ask. If he already existed before having a human body, if he was already there when the foundations of the earth were laid, what was he like? He did not have the carpenter's hands we know, nor the Semitic face that historians describe. He was spirit, light, word. Think about the confusion this creates in our linear minds. We're used to biographies that begin at birth and end at death. But here, we're dealing with someone whose biography is an endless circle. The birth in Bethlehem was only the moment when he decided to become visible to us. It was the moment when the infinite agreed to fit within the finite. But this raises the greatest mystery of all, the missing piece in this divine puzzle. If the name Jesus was given by the angel Gabriel 9 months before his birth, what was he called before that, during the millennia of eternity? When the angels bowed before him, what name did they pronounce? It couldn't have been Jesus, because Jesus is a human name, a name for an earthly Savior. There, in the glory he had with the Father before the world existed, he had another identification, one that carries the weight of his pure divinity, unmixed with humanity. We look to the scriptures and see clues, fragments, left there intentionally so that the most attentive could notice. In the beginning was the Word. But what does that really mean? It's not just a beautiful word, it's a technical description of his function and his nature. He was the exact expression of God. But Word is a title, not a personal name as we understand it. The mystery deepens when we realize that he was not alone. He was with God, and he was God. There was a conversation happening in eternity, a dialogue between the Father and the Son before there were human ears to hear it. Try to picture the scene. The Father turns to the Son in eternity past. They share the same essence, the same glory, the same power. There is no hierarchy of inferiority, only a perfect functional order. When they planned the creation of man, they said, "Let us make." Who is this us? It is plurality and unity. It's not enough to know that he existed. We need to understand the magnitude of that existence. Most people imagine that Jesus was created by God at some very distant point in time. That would demote the King of the universe to the category of a creature, even an exalted creature. The truth is much more shocking. He was not created. He is the agent of creation. Everything that exists, visible and invisible, thrones, dominions, principalities, and powers, everything was created through him and for him. He is the primary cause. Without him, nothing that was made. This changes everything. When you look at a storm, at the complexity of DNA, at the immensity of the ocean, you are looking at the work of his hands, the same hands that would later be nailed to a Roman wooden cross. The architect became part of the construction. The author entered his own story as a character. But why is this detail so crucial and at the same time so often ignored?